Good afternoon, guys, and happy Monday to all of your sunshiny faces, guys. I was able to get a good amount of stuff done, not a whole ton, but if you guys didn't notice, there's a refrigerator that is currently sitting right in the middle of our kitchen because, gosh dang it, where are these cherries going to fit? Somebody left them sitting out. If you guys can't tell right here, this refrigerator is completely out. There's enough room for a person to squeeze in here so we can get back here and paint. We also have to pull up this old tile, which is like really the old tile, and this is semi-old tile. And this right here is the new tile. So currently we are working on that project, and I had the kitchen cleaned today, guys. As you can clearly tell behind me, that's not the way it looks anymore. I mean, I guess the KitchenAid was here, the utensils were back there, and this was still here. And I guess we had the watermelons there as well. But everything else got thrown onto the table, and now there's also stuff on the counters as well. But the whole kitchen was clean. This was before the refrigerator got moved out. I made 10 freezer dinners today, guys. I was feeling very productive. I got enough chicken and ground beef that I was able to make some freezer dinners. I ended up doing 4 ground beef dinners. I had almost 4 pounds worth. I think it was like 3.7 pounds. Ended up making 2 sloppy joes and 2 like taco meats, just because those are normally easy ground beef ones. And the thing is too with ground beef is that I don't really love that I have to, like, I don't have to, I guess you can sort of cook ground beef in the slow cooker, but unless you get a really high, like 95% lean, you're gonna wind up with grease in there, and it's kind of a pain to get out. It doesn't cook too, I think, as well as it does on the stove, but it's fine to cook and then freeze, so that's what I normally wind up doing. And on top of that too, I'd have to cook the ground beef and then wait and add whatever else I'm adding. So if I'm adding the sloppy joe mix or the taco seasoning or whatever, I'd have to basically just freeze the pound of ground beef or whatever, throw it in the slow cooker, and then add that later when it's ready to cook, once it's already cooked and drained and everything like that. Because if not, then you get a whole bunch of greasy stuff that's like mixed in with like your sloppy joe mix if you didn't drain it off first. So I've experienced that, and I find it just easier to brown the ground beef first. So I did 2 sets, pretty much about 2 pounds each, and then ended up splitting those up and did about a pound each of the individual meals. So again, those will be 4 dinners that we threw in the freezer that are made, that just have to be defrosted and thrown in a crock pot in the morning. Or honestly, taco meat is super fast, and I think really like taco meat and sloppy joes, because they are already pre-cooked, honestly they don't take more than like just pretty much once they're defrosted, you just really need to sort of like reheat it, warm it up. So it can be like an hour or 2, honestly, that it needs to cook for, because it doesn't even really need to cook. It basically just needs to be warmed up. So normally I can throw it in there, sometimes even frozen already, and it will cook. Because again, all of the stuff in there is already cooked, so it doesn't need to cook in the crock pot. It just needs to be warmed up and, you know, not frozen. So I made those. Then I ended up making 6 chicken freezer dinners. I don't know actually how much chicken breast I had. I had in total though, I think 7 chicken breasts. So I did pretty much 1 chicken breast for each dinner, and then I did a lemon garlic chicken, which used 1.5 pounds pretty much of chicken breast, like a chicken breast and a half pretty much, because the chicken breasts are about 1 pound each. So I ended up doing that, and then I also ended up doing a like Tex-Mex slow cooker sort of thing, and then also 2, goodness, what was this other one? Oh, chicken cacciatore. That was the other one I ended up doing. So I made 2 of each of those recipes. Normally when I make my freezer dinners, I make them in 2s. The other reason is that it's sort of easy as well, because like for the Tex-Mex sort of that it was like, I don't know, like a sort of like a salsa chicken I've done before, but basically that used like a half a bag of frozen corn for each. So that's why a lot of times for that kind of stuff, it's just like I pretty much double the recipe and do 2 bags. I could just do 1 of each, but I find it easier if I kind of, you know, doing sort of like bulk. Then too, I don't have to like be like, okay, I have 7 chicken breasts or something like that. I'm gonna make, you know, I don't know, 5 different freezer dinners or something like that, it's easier to just do 6 and make, you know, 3 of the same recipe. Or make 3 of the same recipe, I think. If it makes sense. So I haven't honestly done this kind of freezer dinner making in quite some time lately. It has just been like, normally I will do salsa chicken, which I just freeze a chicken breast, and or barbecue chicken too. I will just freeze a chicken breast, throw it in the freezer right on their barbecue chicken, and then defrost it, and then throw it in the slow cooker, and then throw barbecue sauce over it once it's cooked and shredded. And then that's barbecue chicken sandwiches, or salsa chicken, which is basically just throw a jar of salsa. I can freeze it with the chicken too. I'll do that sometimes, but they're just like 1 ingredient like things, and then you pretty much just end up doing it like shredded chicken, or chicken, like sliced chicken in, like, you know, over salad, or as like taco filler or whatever. So that's the other one that I normally do that is like super easy, and it's normally just to get 1 ingredient. I don't have to do any prep or anything like that. It's just like opening a can or a jar or whatever and throwing it in there, throwing it in the freezer, because I've been, I think, kind of a little lazy lately with some of my freezer dinners. Last week I did, oh no, maybe it was 2 weeks ago, I did 4 freezer dinners, 2 of the same recipe. But again, it wasn't a big one. I didn't make a whole 10 freezer dinners, and it wasn't using, again, it was like I just got 1 pack of chicken breast and made them, instead of again, I did ground beef and chicken, and I did several chicken dinners again as well. So I got to all that today. That was my big thing. I also edited and uploaded, and we also had a thunderstorm that rolled through. So I also had written on my planner to water the plants. Plants were already watered by Mother Nature. I didn't have to do that. But then me and Jack went out to the greenhouse, because the greenhouse is covered. So obviously, you know, there's plants out there that need to be watered. But we went out there and realized that the tarp had actually come off of the greenhouse. So all the plants that were in there got watered. I don't know where we're going to move them to. That's why they're still in there right now. Obviously, we don't have to worry about frost because it is almost July. But because of the what's it called, the I just don't know where we want to put them right now. I don't really want to put them, like, there's a lot of them, so when we put them in the front yard, and in the backyard we could put them on the deck, but then they'd be covered, and we'd have the same thing, like we'd have to water them pretty much probably no matter what anyway. But I don't know where to keep them, and I don't want the dogs to get into them either, so I'm like, I don't want to keep it in the backyard so much. And yeah, right now I don't know. The greenhouse right now is the best option for them. But anyways, I did that, but I didn't my normal planner, like daily stuff that I normally do is dishes and laundry. I didn't get to that, but I did do dishes yesterday, and so I really only have enough to run a full load today. But I did wash all the dishes and stuff like that while I was going through it, just loading and loading up the dishwasher. I didn't do any laundry. So I'm hopefully going to be able to get to that tomorrow, along with cleaning the bathroom. But again, you know, the freezer dinner thing took me for 10 freezer dinners, took me close to about 2 hours or so, I think, to finish, which isn't a whole ton. But these were also recipes that involve more ingredients, like I was saying. Like, it wasn't just like 1 or 2 ingredients that I threw in a bag and threw in the chicken breast and threw it out in the freezer. I chopped the chicken breast for some of them. You know, like I said, I had to brown the ground beef, and then browning the ground beef, and then I let it cool so I don't put it in the bag while it's hot. You know, so then normally I will let that cool, go to move the chicken breasts, you know, do those freezer dinners, and then go back and then, you know, work on the next batch of the what's it called, the ground beef ones. So that was what I did today, guys. But I was actually going to show you guys, because again, the kitchen countertops were all nice and cleaned and everything like that, and I had everything all laid out and organized and stuff like that. I was like, this would be a really good time to start the vlog. And then I was like, you know what, let's just try and get through this, because I wanted to try and get through it earlier, like much earlier, because I knew that behind the refrigerator was going to need to be painted today, so I wanted to get out of the kitchen as soon as possible. But it didn't end up being moved until much later in the afternoon, so I guess I didn't need to rush as fast. But that was my goal. Was actually, I wanted to do it kind of first thing, but I was like, I'll edit and upload first thing and then get to the freezer dinners. So I think it was around maybe noon or 1 o'clock that I got to those, maybe around noon, and I think I finished around 2 o'clock. And again, I washed all the dishes like in between and stuff like that, so I didn't have to worry about a huge stack of dishes after I'm done cooking. I will, again, normally, like, my ground beef is cooling, I'll move to getting the other stuff done and things like that. So again, that was kind of how today ended up going down and the stuff I was able to get to. But like I said, guys, I haven't done like a big, like, you know, at least semi-big batch of like freezer cooking in a while that is a little bit more elaborate, if that makes sense, in the recipes that I'm using. A little bit more than just, again, a couple of, you know, a can or jar, or, you know, slice up a bell pepper and throw it in there, you know, or something like that. It was, you know, a little bit more like spices and seasonings and adding this stuff and that stuff and things like that, which again, I have not been. I've been doing super simple, or again, it's like I'll make like salsa chicken. I'll add, you know, sometimes it depends on how fancy I want to get with salsa chicken. I have like 8 different recipes that I use. Sometimes I will add black beans, sometimes I'll add corn, sometimes I will add diced up, my own diced up, like, you know, extra bell peppers and onions and stuff like that to kind of add to the salsa. Sometimes I'll add taco seasoning. It totally depends. Sometimes it is just a can of, you know, or a jar of salsa in the bag with a chicken breast and then cook it in a slow cooker. You know, so again, it can be as simple or as a little bit more advanced, but I've been doing the simpler version. So yeah, that's why it's first time in a while that I think I've gotten back to, again, a big bulk freezer cooking stuff. But they had a lot of stuff on sale last week, and we were actually super under budget too last week, which normally when I do like 10 batches of freezer dinners, we are like kind of up there. I think it's normally like an extra handful of bucks, because like last week we didn't get any extra meat because there was nothing really that was super on sale. I don't think, if I'm thinking last week was that week, or if it was 2 weeks ago that I made the freezer dinners. I can't totally keep track, guys. We're not stuck in quarantine anymore, but I still have that kind of like mindset, like I don't know what actual day it is, because we actually lost like 3 months worth of time. So yeah, I'm like I said, trying to think. But I think last week we didn't end up spending that much because of, we didn't wind up getting any like extra chicken or anything like that to make freezer dinners. But this week we did wind up doing that for, like I said, for dinners. We ended up spending more this week, but we actually were still under budget, and last week we were under budget too and didn't end up getting any or making any freezer dinners. Whereas if we would have last week, we might have been a little bit, had more money. It would have been more money and maybe a little over budget. So depends on what would have been on sale and the price and stuff like that. But yeah, I was super excited. But the only thing is that Aldi right now too is still they are still limiting only to like 4 like cans. So like for example, tomato sauce, normally the little small like 8-ounce things of tomato sauce, when I'm doing a freezer cooking day, sometimes I can maybe get like 8 of them or something like that, and I was like, I can only get 4. Luckily I actually only ended up using 2. I only bought 2, but I only used 2, so I didn't need a whole ton of that. But sometimes again I can maybe use some of that stuff. But like canned stuff too, like I can't do a huge batch of freezer cooking if it's all the same thing. The other thing they haven't had is what's it called? Cream of chicken. They haven't had it at all. We even tried at Menards too, and it seems like they're out. They had the Campbell's version of cream of chicken soup, but they didn't have any at Aldi at all. And the Campbell's brand is like $1.50. I am used to spending like 50 cents or so at like Aldi. Normally it's not too expensive. They have a ton of cream of mushroom, but not a lot of cream of chicken. So that's something that too I kind of had to base my, and knowing that, based my my meal plan, not meal plan, but my freezer dinner making around. So I had to make sure my recipes didn't have that this week. I think we have a couple of extra cans maybe in the pantry, like maybe 4, but again, I don't want to totally use them all up if there's other recipes that we might need them for that aren't freezer dinners. So again, normally we keep a small little supply of canned stuff in the pantry just for like go-to, like, you know, if my mom's making something or if I'm planning on making something too that isn't already freezer dinner. You know, we want to keep a couple of things in there. But for the most part, like some stuff I just buy for freezer cooking that I know we normally won't buy or use, and use that just for those freezer dinners. You know, like I won't use if it just stays in the pantry or something like that. So anyways, guys, yeah, that's kind of my rundown on freezer cooking for today. But again, I made 10 freezer dinners, so I mean that's normally about 2 weeks or so, because we don't do freezer dinners every week or every day. You know, we might wind up doing pasta like with no freezer dinner or anything, just like pasta with like frozen chicken patties, like what are they called? Chicken something, like the breaded chicken patties, or chicken Kiev, or we might wind up doing again something like homemade. Or to like normally Friday nights we've been getting Caputo's pizzas. So again, that's like, you know, 2 days out of the next 14 that we normally wind up not. So there's like 2 other days that I kind of would have to fill in, but we don't even use up those freezer dinners because I already have ones out in the freezer. So like I have ones that I made from, you know, a couple of weeks ago as well, the last time that I did a couple of freezer dinners as well. So again, I mix and match. It's not just the ones that I made today that we're gonna eat in the next 2 weeks. I have stuff that's already out there, so we again mix and match sort of with what's in there already, what I just made. And obviously I want to try and use up the older stuff first, so those will be ones that probably get used up maybe once or twice during the next couple of weeks. But normally the way I look at it is like I made freezer dinners for the next 2 weeks, so we don't need that. You know, kind of like, I guess that's my thought when I think of it. But it's not like I didn't make, you know, 2 things of sloppy joes and 2 things of taco meat to have 2 times in the next 2 weeks. I mean, we could have it once a week, but again, still, you know, it's not like we can space it out even a little bit more than that. I actually think I have 4 things of taco meat because I had 2 that were already frozen and 2 things of sloppy joes also, so now I have 4. So yeah, those are ones that we can actually maybe, if we have, honestly, if we have hamburger buns, we might wind up doing some. Or maybe actually we'll do taco meat tomorrow, now that I'm thinking about it, because we have a lot of extra lettuce. I got 2 heads last week at Jewel, and our fridge is like, not only is it busting out of where it's been, it is busting at the seams too, because there's like no room in it right now because I got a lot of lettuce in there. So yeah, people eat lettuce when we do tacos. That's a good a good thought. Anyways guys, I will see you all in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love it if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye guys.